All right, friends. Well, we're getting started a little later than we anticipated earlier because we had an overtime that we had to contend with today. Jazz lose to the Lakers after a surprisingly thrilling overtime situation. I can describe it as a situation because you have the Jazz up or the Jazz down by 7 points with just a minute and change left to play, and Laker missed shot, Jazz making shots, clutch free throws by Damian Jones. We had all sorts of players contributing late. I mean, this is a starting lineup, guys, for the Jazz. Pretty much missing everybody. Well, Colin Sexton made a nice little 16-minute return. There's no Lauri Markkanen, who's kind of in and out of the lineup with his various hand ailments. I'm going to talk about Markkanen's in and out of the lineup. I feel like that's been a confusing thing for me to witness as opposed to Sexton missing 18 games straight or Clarkson missing a bunch of games straight and he's probably done for the season. But Markkanen, this was one of his games that he's not going to play. So he didn't play. Walker Kessler is out with a concussion, and Kessler's a net positive player on the floor, obviously, very, very much so a positive player on the floor, but he's a rookie. You're going to play him. And so you're left with the starting lineup of Talen Horton-Tucker, Luka Samanic, who's on a 10-day, who I like Luka Samanic, and he's actually playing a lot better in this NBA stint than he ever played for the Spurs. He's had a nice play for the Maine Red Claws earlier this season, but he's on a 10-day, right? He's so that's a situation. Udoka Azubuike, who we all know is just not even, he's a fraudulent NBA player at this point. I'm seeing that the video quality skipped out a little bit. So if you're watching on YouTube, sorry if it's skipping out a little bit. Looks good now. Who am I forgetting? The starting lineup. Oh yeah, Ochai Agbaji, of course, who's also been a very much a net positive player over the past few weeks for the Jazz, and of course Kelly Olynyk, who I think if we're gonna blame anybody for why the Jazz were competitive in this game, there were many positive players for the Jazz, but it was Kelly Olynyk who provided a lot of clutch play late, had a nice little successful run today. He might have been the Jazz best player as far as a statistical standpoint. Kelly Olynyk is going to finish with 23 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, becomes tantalizingly close to the Jazz first triple-double in almost 20 years at this point. Obviously, Talen Horton-Tucker served as the primary ball handler all evening, and he shot pretty terribly, but his turnovers were under control. And then the Lakers have pretty much a full-strength squad. You're going against a Lakers team that didn't have D'Angelo Russell, but otherwise was a fairly full complement of players for the Lakers. This does not bode well for their the playoff outlook for the Lakers. LeBron is coming back from injury. I think they're trying to fight for playoff or play-in positioning, you should say. And I think it's notable that LeBron was coming back for this game, trying to fight to get that right positioning, and he didn't quite look right to me. LeBron's entire career, he has, in a lot of fourth quarter and clutch moments, has deferred to a jump shot a lot, and I don't think that's any different from a lot what he was doing in Miami, but I think old LeBron in his Cleveland and Miami stints absolutely would have seen Damian Jones or Luka Samanic or Kelly Olynyk guarding him and just said, like, I'm not going to just resort to my jump shot against this defender. I'm going to attack. And he looked a little rusty today when it came to that perspective. So the Lakers should be a little concerned that they required this much effort to beat the Jazz as far as their title contending status, if that's even going to be a thing. So the Jazz, what an interesting situation for them. This was fun though. I hope we all had a little bit of fun today with this one. This is a situation where you're really just trying to see, all right, is Ochai Agbaji, he's going to be a top 2 or 3 player on this team playing tonight. What is he going to do? And I just think that Agbaji's attitude over the past month and a half of just making violent decisions as far as what he's going to do with the basketball, when his shooting form kind of goes in and out when it comes to his distance shooting, but I think it's just so impressive at how often he's able to get off the dribble threes jacked up, or even off the catch 3-point shots that still are heavily contested. And I thought Agbaji he's been a delight to watch over the past few weeks. I haven't been able to go live with you all and talk about the Jazz over the while, so we're kind of doing a all-encompassing discussion over what has been happening over the past few weeks. And Agbaji has just, I call it a violent decision making, because he is being, I think aggressive is kind of an overplayed term when it comes to what you want to see out of a player, right? Like Talen Horton-Tucker is aggressive, but when it comes to his decision making, it's leaving a lot of pause, a lot of record scratching, a lot of you're not sure exactly what you're going to get from Talen Horton-Tucker, even though his constant dribbling of the basketball definitely ensures that, like, oh, he's being aggressive out there. And so aggression isn't really the right word I like to use when you're looking for a player to take control of situations. I look for violence with the basketball. How quickly are you getting just knifing into the paint, or making quick decisions, or just saying, I'm shooting this shot even if the ball doesn't fit right in my hands. Abaji's 4 of 8 from 3 today, and his 4 misses were all pretty terrible. I don't think that was a nature of like, oh, this guy's kind of a sketchy shooter. It was more like he was just making violent decisions of, I'm going to immediately shoot this ball. And as he gets more comfortable with the space and the timing that he needs of shooting, he might learn how to control some of those shots a little bit better. So he is that marksman now that is actually, oh, this is what we might have thought Malik Beasley could have provided this year, right? Speaking of, a former Jazz man who was playing for the Lakers today. So when you watch these games, you're not really caring what Udoka Azubuike is going to do as the starting center. It's all about, all right, who's on this team next year, and like, are you going to provide us some fun? Is it fun to watch you right now? And right now, I have fun watching Chris Dunn. I have fun watching Agbaji, as we just mentioned. I have a miserable time watching Talen Horton-Tucker. I don't care how many 30-point games he's going to string in a row. It's fucking miserable to watch Talen Horton-Tucker play basketball. I love that his turnovers have gone down recently, but it's been pretty exhausting to watch Horton-Tucker over the past few weeks as he's gotten more responsibility. His shot decision making is not fun. So I'm speaking exclusively for players under contract next year. So like, I'll skip Samanic, I'll skip Toscano Anderson, and I'd love to see Samanic back in training camp. Frankly, I think he's a useful body, a useful shape of a player that, like Chris Dunn, I think could have a relevant place next year. But like I said, I like watching Dunn, like Sexton. Damian Jones has been, I know in his previous stops you have a lot of fans who are up and down on Damian Jones. Look, I'm not looking for anything other than, are you a backup center that I care about, right? There's no future of like, what is Damian Jones going to provide a contending Jazz team in the future? But since he's going to be on the team next year, or at least he's under contract for next year, barring a trade of some sort, it's like, do I have fun watching you? Am I going to tune in on a random game and you're backing up Walker Kessler next year? And am I going to care that you're in the game? And it's like, yeah, I like Damian Jones in the game. Simone Fontecchio, I was so thrilled on him early in the season. And I think he's missing a degree of skill out there. It's physicality, his quickness, everything is just not NBA ready from a physicality, his athleticism standpoint. And as we've seen from Fontecchio all season, in order to be a successful NBA player, he's got to be that 45% 3-point shooter, or if he's not going to be that level of shooter, provide a little bit of a scary secondary playmaking, right? And that just wasn't going to, it's not happening for him right now. I do not enjoy watching Simone Fontecchio play basketball. Do I have fun watching Kelly Olynyk, who's under contract next year? I don't think my opinion on Kelly Olynyk has changed. He's a winning basketball player. I hope he, towards the end of his career, is playing 10 to 12 minutes a night for a useful basketball team. I find him frustrating on a game-to-game basis, just because, and it's very similar to Rudy Gobert in this instance of like players who provide winning plays but look really weird doing it, right? And obviously Olynyk and Gobert, two completely different calibers of players, let alone play style and everything. But when it comes to what you appreciate about a player, sometimes Gobert looks really silly and like awkward doing things, but it's that silliness and awkwardness that leads him to being just this fast twitch, unpredictable defender that can completely eviscerate a defensive paint. That same awkwardness gets him into tough situations that make him look like the worst basketball player on the planet. Kelly Olynyk is very similar in this instance, right? Where he moves so slowly and awkwardly, and nothing kind of looks like it's easy for him, but he's always under control, and it's that sort of awkward slowness to his game that just all of a sudden angles are wide open for him because defenses aren't sort of prepared to how to deal with him. And so he's got the shooting, he's got the passing ability, he knows where all of his teammates are on the floor at any given time, he's understanding tendencies of new players on the fly, he's a winning basketball player. It's just sometimes when it comes to rebounding and defense, it leaves a lot to be desired in high leverage situations. And so for an average basketball team like the Jazz right now, it's fine. I like that he's out there. Next year when the Jazz are, ostensibly going to be a little bit better, maybe thinking like, all right, let's see if we can get to a 5 or 6 seed if the season goes well. I'm not particularly going to enjoy some of those Kelly Olynyk moments. So that's what I'm looking for on games like now. Like, am I going to enjoy watching Chris Dunn next year? I think so. And I'd like to see more of it. I think the takeaway over these past few weeks has got to be, you're going to have Talen Horton-Tucker on this team next year at $11 million, but, to what extent, do you want to trust him with actual minutes over a guy like Chris Dunn, who probably doesn't have as much setup ability and point guard ability as Talen Horton-Tucker, but I think as a backup 12 to 15 minute a game situation, I think you're just going to have more fun with Chris Dunn out there, and who also can play off of the ball. I think it's been I think Will Hardy's been forced to do this, but we have seen a lot of Horton-Tucker and Dunn together, and Dunn's size allows him to play, guard opposing players that aren't just point guards. Obviously, Horton-Tucker, his best skill is guarding forward types. I think he gets a little lost guarding guard types. But, you get a full complement of players next year. The Jazz still have kind of a ball handling deficit next year. We don't have a Mike Conley coming back, right? Like, we're probably going to be able to re-sign Jordan Clarkson, but that's not a sure thing. There is still going to be a very much like a capital P point guard sized hole on this roster, and it's probably going to be Colin Sexton starting, but there's going to be a lot of distribution chops that need to improve for Sexton, and so I don't think it's a sure thing that one of Dunn or Horton-Tucker gets completely mothballed to start the year. Obviously, training camp matters for that, and but any rookie you draft is going to be miserable as a point guard right off the bat. Even if you were to draft Scoot Henderson, you move all the way up to number 2 or 3 or whatever, and you draft Scoot Henderson, he's going to have issues with playmaking, right? He's obviously a world Hall of Fame caliber talent, but he's not going to provide that capital P point guard skill that you might need right off the bat. So it's going to be very interesting to watch the point guard levels going forward. Don't have Toscano Anderson under contract next year. I mentioned that. I don't particularly enjoy watching him. And we'll see what we do with Fontecchio in the offseason, just because I know he's under contract for next year, but there's going to need to be some skill development, or he's just going to be the under contract 14th or 15th guy that might actually get cut halfway through next season if he doesn't improve. Similar to Leandro Balmaro getting waived and then playing overseas so he can get some playing time. Right now it's not looking super great for Fontecchio, who frankly lost his starting job to a guy on a 10-day, Luka Samanic. This was Fontecchio's starting role, but Samanic was playing better, and the Jazz closed with Chris Dunn over both of them, which I think was the appropriate move. So that's a long soliloquy on the Jazz. I haven't stopped drinking beer over the past few weeks, even though I've missed all of you. It's a great night for the Jazz to lose, and I think this will be a quick little summary that we've done. What a wild sequence. I'm just going to talk about the last few plays, I think. How do we get to overtime when we thought that this game was... Oh, so I do recall Austin Reeves hitting a three and very aggressively doing the ice in my veins showboating maneuver to the fans sitting courtside. Like it was not just like a quick one. It was very much like an in your face to the courtside fans towards the end. And Agbaji immediately hit a three right after that. Let's see here. So last few possessions. I'm going to go to this. So 1:43 left to play. Austin Reeves hits that three, ice in his veins, and then 6 seconds later, Agbaji hits a three off of a Kelly Olynyk go-ahead pass. So after a made basket, Kelly Olynyk gets the ball in the inbounds and quickly drives it ahead, passes it to a wide-open Agbaji, I think he did have someone covering him, but not contesting it very, very cleanly, gets the three. You get the LeBron James offensive foul where he aggressively, it's a three-point shot attempt by LeBron, and he kicks his foot out and trips Damian Jones, who is providing a very legal contest. And so that became an offensive foul. Chris Dunn completely obliterates, I think it was Austin Reeves off the dribble. He gets a layup. The defense on Anthony Davis in the second half, especially by Damian Jones, was outstanding. I thought Will Hardy was outstanding as well, as far as like scheming up to say, look guys, we don't have the personnel for this one-on-one stuff. We're going to double, we're going to mix in a little zone, we're going to do a little triangle and two, or, just kind of figuring out where we're not just going to let LeBron James or Anthony Davis murk our guys one-on-one. We're just going to send doubles and force them to make passes. Austin Reeves had a great game off of that, right? Like he was usually the second guy getting those passes and making baskets. Anyways, say that all to say Anthony Davis, he missed a mid-range jumper. I thought it was great defense by Damian Jones, who closed the game today. And then you have the completely absurd Kelly Olynyk 30-footer from the top of the arc. So that was a walk-in three. He gets it off the rebound. And that was 5 seconds after the mid-range miss by Anthony Davis. And then you have another miss by Anthony Davis. You get the rebound. Coming all the way down, Damian Jones gets a pass from a Chris Dunn drive, another great Chris Dunn drive, kicks it interior Damian Jones, pump fake, draws a foul, makes both free throws, and then LeBron misses the game-winning layup towards the end. So I know that was a long list of things to say, but wow, that's a lot of makes for the Jazz. I forgot the 30-foot shot by Olynyk, that went off glass. Right, so that's where I think every Jazz fan was like, "This is absurd. This is ridiculous." That on a game that I think most Jazz fans would prefer to lose, I insist that I've been agnostic about winning and losing from game one. I'm going to be stubborn and say I don't care whether the Jazz win or lose until the end of the year. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But pretty much everybody, including management, is saying like, "All right, let's get down into the lottery odds. We'll be all right." And then Kelly Olynyk is going to make a 30-foot bank shot for three that gets him within 2 points. Just completely absurd situation. And you got to love it. Just really, really fun times. And everyone goes home happy because the people hoping for a win and love beating the Lakers got an enjoyable basketball game out of it. The folks who rooting for losses got their desired end result. So I know we have a lot of folks here. I will this will be a short one today, but if anyone wants to drop a comment or a question on where I've been over the past couple weeks or what you're looking forward to the next couple days, I'll take a couple sips of beer here and see if anyone wants to dial in. Otherwise, we'll I'll next game we'll be able to do will be the season ender on Sunday, Easter Sunday. We'll do a probably a recap of that game. We'll probably do a separate season-ending special edition postcast on Monday or Tuesday night or something like that, talking about the season or everything. But I do want to do Sunday's game which I believe is also against the Lakers on Easter Sunday in Los Angeles. So I'll sip a beer here. If anyone wants to dial in, I'm happy to take a comment. Well, that's it for us. I just wanted, I've been away from the computer for various reasons. We had a Jazz East Coast road trip, and then I was on vacation for a week, and then last week I was probably the busiest at work I've been in a long, long time, so I haven't even been able to watch a lot of the Jazz. As opposed to the first 65 games where I don't think I missed a minute of Jazz basketball, and then the past few weeks have been a little difficult. So I was like, well, I'm watching the game live with my friends on the internet today. Let me just get on the horn and talk about what we've been seeing, how much fun we've been having. I think the two last things I want to talk about before I hang up is it is weird to see Markkanen just not be totally shut down. I kind of understand why you hold out a guy like Colin Sexton for 18 games in a row. I understand why Jordan Clarkson's not playing. Honestly, Jordan Clarkson, I think he actually has a legitimate hand injury. I don't think they're being like quote unquote cautious like they were with like they are with Sexton. And a guy like Lauri Markkanen, like, yeah, he wants to play, but he's had very small ailments like a back injury and a hand injury. And at this point in the season, I just find it very weird that they're willing to risk like complete, like a catastrophic injury with Lauri Markkanen. If he is as banged up as he is, he's played such a physical brand of basketball this year that after a very physical Eurobasket, that I think the dude just needs a break. And with the Jazz not totally fighting for things, and reading Markkanen's interviews with Slam Magazine and Michael Scotto over the past couple days, I don't think Markkanen's really hurting for how this season turns out if they miss the playoffs. Like, he knows that they're looking for a great playoff team next year. So can we put him on ice? Like, if we make the play-in game by some miracle, I don't know if they're technically eliminated, but I think they're all but eliminated. But if by some miracle they make the play-in game, sure, bring everyone back. Let's have a party. Let's try to make the 8-1 series against the Nuggets or something, and or whatever. But for now, just put them on ice. And I think the last thing I'll sign off, I think all Jazz fans will appreciate: Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley. They combined for 40 minutes today. They went 3 of 7 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. By the way, both those makes were Jared and not Malik. So yeah, you get 18 minutes from Vanderbilt, 22 from Beasley. Beasley was a -7. Vanderbilt was a +4 with 4 fouls. They were inconsequential for the Los Angeles Lakers today. Meanwhile, not saying they're better, but Damian Jones and Juan Toscano-Anderson played a lot of minutes for the Jazz, and of course Taylor Horton-Tucker, who was in a different trade, of course, contributed as well. So interesting that winning basketball players Jared Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley did not see much time, and I thought they were largely irrelevant when they were out there. I mean, the Lakers were pretty much, I thought, were a 7-man unit today. Or a 6-man unit, I should say. You have Schroeder and Reeves, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. So obviously, you're going to get those as your starters. But Rui Hachimura was very efficient off the bench. I thought he was really taking it to whoever was guarding him. Not a great defender, not a great shooter, but he was a capable offensive player for them. And Troy Brown Jr., I think, is just kind of like an active, kind of good two-guard who got more minutes than Malik Beasley for, I think, very good reasons. That's all I have for me. And I'm going to sign off. Just want to get on the horn a little bit and say I've had a blast watching the Jazz today. This was a really fun one. I hope you all had fun. I think a lot of people got their desired end result. And hang around on Easter Sunday. Have a beer with me on Sunday to talk about the last game of the season. And we'll probably do another one. Talk about the end of the season on Monday or Tuesday night. Until